Hello Miss Ria, hello everyone, I'm Mustikoh, so I will fulfill my obligation to explain the historical background of psycholinguistics in this video. So here is it, let's discuss together. First, let's discuss what is linguistics and psychology. Linguistics is the scientific study of language, and psychology is the scientific study of human behavior and cognition. Language, apart from being a means of human communication, language also reflects the very nature of human thought, which is why language has caught the attention of scholars for more than 2,000 years ago. Language deals with psychology as it relates of learning the mind and brain, as well as aspects of society and culture. This is called the psychology of language, studied by psycholinguistics. There are three processes in language psychology, namely understanding, production, and acquisition. Okay, let's take a look at the history of psycholinguistics. Psycholinguistics, which is a new modern scientific discipline formed by linguistics and psychology. Psycholinguistics is the study of psychological processes involved in acquiring, understanding, producing, and remembering or storing language. This process involves listening, reading, speaking, and writing. This study is closely related to cognitive psychology and field research that relies on experimental method. Psycholinguistics as an independent study of language and behavior is still very new compared to the 2,500 years old documented study of mind and language. And second, a descendant of modern psychology, psycholinguistics is an independent study emerged from the origin description of Broca 1961 and Wernicke 1974, but for concrete advance in 1979, Wilhelm Wundt founded the first official research laboratory for the research of language psychology at the University of Leipzig, Germany. He was a psychologist, doctor, professor, who is now widely considered to be the father of experimental psychology. And how about the beginning of the modern era in psychology? Linguistics in North America exerted an important influence on cognitive psychology and emerged in the 1950s. However, many linguists that claim that psycholinguistics actually began in the mid to late 1960s. There are many psycholinguistic research conducted by psychologists and linguists in the field of children language acquisition with the transformational generative model by Noam Chomsky. He is a renowned American linguist and cognitive scientist. This study aims to determine how children acquire grammatical process to support the speech they hear. And finally, research continue in the area of language acquisition in children who learn a second or third language very quickly and easily, despite the fact that language is very complex. In this study, psycholinguists discover relevant phenomena about human cognition and learning, while linguists discover important truths about the structure of language. Subsequently, the transformation generative model was adapted for speech processing and understanding. However, the transformational generative research model has shifted to a new language structure research model that is functionally related and socially oriented. That's all from me. Thank you, and I'm sorry if there are any mistakes.